What's up, my comic comrades? Recently, Marvel revitalized the Ultimate Universe and dropped a brand new Ultimate Spider-Man title by the one and only Jonathan Hickman. This new Ultimate Spider-Man book, which is the first solo series of this new line of Ultimate titles, has been one of the most anticipated comics since its announcement last year. And today we're going to give you all the coolest moments from issue 1. This is also the perfect jumping on point for anyone looking to get into Spider-Man. So if that's you, this is your opportunity with a fresh take on an alternate version of the character and what some are saying could be the new definitive version of Spider-Man, especially because fans haven't been very happy with the direction in the main Amazing Spider-Man title recently. But we've also got something for all the creatives and entrepreneurs watching. A digital and online presence is a must for any business, so having the right tools to shape your website is crucial, which is where today's sponsor, Hostinger, comes in. Hostinger's website builder puts the power in your hands by helping website beginners to create a business site or even an online store with the help of AI. No coding skills or technical expertise required, making it simple to create your own pro-looking website filled with the latest hotness. We've recently been working with it here at Variant Labs for one of our upcoming Variant projects, using one of their 150 designer-made customizable templates along with the AI assistant, and the team is digging all of it. It's hassle-free, and the AI writer even helps you write an SEO-friendly copy. On top of that, Hostinger's AI heat map also helps to predict visitor behavior, and you can optimize campaigns with insights from Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Facebook Pixel, and visitor remarketing. So if you've been holding off on that new website, check out Hostinger's website builder at hostinger.com/variant, and for a limited time, use promo code VARIANT to score an exclusive 10% discount on all yearly plans. And this deal is on top of the New Year's sale they're running through February 12th. If you're watching after the fact, don't sweat it. The coupon code will still be valid after the sale is over. Just click the link in the description. All right, so issue 1 of Ultimate Spider-Man starts off with an older Peter Parker as he starts getting ready for work in the morning, putting on his clothes and his wedding band before walking out to the living room and kitchen to say good morning to his 2 kids. That's right, this Peter Parker is married and has 2 kids. And of course, we find out on the 3rd page, his wife is none other than Mary Jane. Yeah, this is what we wanted for Peter Parker in his main Amazing Spider-Man title, yet we're getting it in his Ultimate Spider-Man book. But hey, at least we're seeing Peter Parker and MJ married with kids somewhere, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just excited. Peter's son says, "Hey Dad, you sound tired. Late night?" He replies, "Yes, Richard, it was," as he kisses his daughter, asking, "What are we eating, May?" Now, besides it being awesome seeing a more mature Peter Parker with kids, it's even cooler that we find out their names are Richard and May. Richard being the name of Peter's father, and May being the name of Aunt May. After this, Peter is pouring some coffee, saying, "Thank God for your mother, who made the coffee." MJ then comes out saying it looks like you need it, which is revealing to us the obvious fact that of course his wife is Mary Jane Watson, or Mary Jane Parker. Peter then hugs and kisses MJ while saying, "That bad?" She says, "A little rough around the edges. I didn't hear you come to bed." He tells her it was late. "I didn't really sleep." She says, "Didn't sleep or couldn't sleep?" He replies while drinking his coffee, "A little bit of both." MJ asks, "That's to be expected, right? Today, well, you know." He says, "Uh-huh," as he grabs an orb that May took out of his messenger bag, saying, "Not a toy, kiddo." MJ then asks, "Do you want to talk about it?" He says, "Yes, but right now I gotta run. I promised I'd head into the office and then we have that thing, but yes, we'll talk later, okay?" She replies, "Count on it." Now I know I just said this, but it's nice seeing Peter as a husband and father. This is the growth we wanted for him for so long. And we were on that path years ago, but Marvel decided to erase that with the One More Day storyline. Then obviously more stuff happened since then, like MJ marrying Paul in the more recent Amazing Spider-Man run. It's just been crazy. The point is, Peter has never really had this growth with him being happily married and kids in his main title. So it's nice to see it happening here. In any case, we then head to the Daily Bugle where Peter works, and when he walks in, he says hi to Betty Brant, as we see good old J. Jonah Jameson yelling Parker across the office. But when he passes Peter, he says, "Oh hey there, Peter, no time to chit-chat," as he continues yelling Parker, walking right past Pete, as we see him yelling for Ben Parker, who is the managing editor at the Daily Bugle. That's right, so not only is Peter married to MJ and has 2 kids in this universe, but Ben Parker is also alive and managing editor at the Daily Bugle, essentially co-running the office with J. Jonah Jameson. After a fun back and forth between the two, we can clearly see they're good friends that like to bust each other's chops. But Ben says, "Is there something you need, Jonah?" He tells him, "Our meeting's at 4. I just found out that the money is insisting all of management be there, but I know you got your thing, and I could try to push it back if you need me to." Ben says, "It's no problem. I'll be back." Ben gets up, grabs his coat, and goes to walk off to his thing. Before Peter goes to follow his uncle, Jonah says, "Peter, hold up a second. You have to wear a tie." So Jonah takes off his tie and puts it on Peter, while Peter asks, "How do you think he's doing?" Jonah says, "Your uncle is the toughest son of a gun I've ever met. Asking if he's okay is kind of like asking about the durability of a stone. If you really want to know how your uncle is doing, you could always just ask." This moment is really cool because we see in this universe, Jonah actually cares for Peter, as he literally gives him the tie off his neck and puts it on him, kind of like an uncle or something. We then see Ben and Peter walking to their thing because remember, as MJ said earlier, Peter also has this same thing going on. And we see what they're referring to is they're attending a memorial for a terrorist attack, an attack in which May Parker was killed. We see Matthew Murdock as the priest running the ceremony, with him handing it over to Harry Osborn. As Harry Osborn lost his parents, parents, Norman and Emily Osborn, as well. So not only do we find out the tragic news that May Parker is the one dead in this universe via a terrorist attack, but the terrorist attack was done by Tony Stark. But more on that later. Anyway, it's just extremely sad as we see MJ and the kids meet up with Parker and Ben as Uncle Ben starts crying. After this, Pete and Ben head back to the Daily Bugle for that meeting with the money that Jonah said he was going to try to stall for Ben. And as they walk in, they see Jonah storming out of the meeting saying, "I quit." Ben then walks in saying, "Did I miss something?" Robbie says, "You did, Ben. We've been informed that there is going to be some editorial restructuring at the paper." Jonah didn't care for the changes. It's at this point we see those changes are being implemented by the Kingpin, who wants to dictate how the Daily Bugle does and doesn't report the news from now on. Kingpin tells Ben Jameson's out and the paper now needs new leadership. You're the obvious choice. I suppose a congratulations is in order, Mr. Parker. It seems you've got a promotion. That is, if you want the job and if you can toe the line. Ben then looks at Kingpin for a moment, smiling, and then walks out, meeting Jonah on the elevator, quitting as well. Later that night, we see the Kingpin getting out of his car, after which his car is blown up by the Green Goblin, but it literally just ends there. I guess this is a tease for things to come. Anyway, at a bar with no name, we see Jonah and Ben drinking, discussing what they're going to do next. And what they're going to do next is create a new newspaper. At this point, Peter stops by to check to see how Uncle Ben is doing and asks, "How did you do it? How did you blow up your whole life in one afternoon and then just start a new one?" Ben tells Peter, "My wife is dead. You're a grown man and have your own family. And given the opportunity, I just couldn't take being in an industry of compromise 1 minute more. Why wouldn't I do what I did? It was an easy choice." Peter then starts venting to his uncle saying, "For the longest time I thought something was wrong with my life. That something was wrong with me. I can't really explain it, but now I just know that I've been right all along and I don't know what to do." Ben politely says, "Well, stop thinking about it and fix it." Pete then heads back to his apartment later that night and sits down to have a conversation with MJ after the kids go to sleep. He tells her, "I don't even know where to start." She asks, "What's going on?" He says, "I don't want to say something and then not be able to take it back." She tells him, "Well, that's just not how any of this works, but I do promise nothing's going to change how I feel about you or about us." He tells her, "I think I need a change." She replies, "Hey, when I quit to start my own business last year, you were 100% on board. And I mean, sure, we've got bills and kids and it might be tough, but why would you think for a second that I wouldn't be behind you doing something else?" He tells her, "No, MJ, I need to change." So this conversation and the conversation with Ben earlier clearly leads us to believe that he wants to break up with MJ. But let's see where this goes. She replies, "Oh, that." He asks, "What do you mean that?" She tells him, "I know you, Peter Parker. You're an amazing husband and just lights out as a father, but you've been walking around for years with this cloud hanging over you. You put on a good face, but you're not satisfied with who you are. Do you know what you have to do?" He answers, "I think so." She asks, "Are things gonna change between us?" He tells her, "Never." She then kisses him saying, "Well, that settles it. I'm going to bed. You go get him, Tiger." So it's not their marriage that's bothering him, and we find out right after this what's really bothering him as he grabs the orb from his bag his daughter May was playing with at the beginning of the issue. He takes it and walks to the top of his apartment building as we get a flashback from the previous night with Tony Stark from the future giving him a message. This message says, "My name is Tony Stark, and while you've likely heard of my father, you've probably never heard of me." Peter replies, "I've got bad news for you, kid. After what you did, everyone knows your name." Tony then says, "I'm sending you this 6 months into the future. There was an attempt on my company's lives, and we only had seconds to escape before the orbital platform fired." Peter then picks up the orb that Tony sent him. Tony says, "Inside is a stealth suit to mask your identity and a bioorganic catalyst necessary for you to undergo a post-human transformation. 20 years ago, you were supposed to be bitten by a radioactive spider. This would have given you amazing powers, and with them, you would have become one of Earth's most prominent superheroes. Instead, a great evil traveled through time and erased almost all the heroes of this world from existence. You were one of them. He did this so he and his Confederates could treat Earth as kind of an experiment, an exercise in creating a society that could be perfectly directed and controlled. I'm repeating this with others like you, and in 6 months, if I've done this correctly, I will exit this room to find an Earth that has regained its heroes. Together we will free the world. It is my greatest hope that you are among our number. You were supposed to have a different life, Peter Parker. You were supposed to protect the innocent lives and inspire the citizens of this world to be their best selves. And instead, all of that was taken from you." We are then taken to the present with Peter on top of his apartment building, opening up the orb as we see it contains a radioactive spider that will give him his powers. So he opens the vial, lets the spider bite him, and becomes Spider-Man as the issue ends. So how crazy is that? The reason why everything is so different in this universe is because some great evil framed Tony Stark and had all heroes erased from existence. The funny thing is this was actually spoiled for us in the prologue at the beginning of this issue, but I didn't want to spoil it for you guys up front. The prologue actually says 20 years ago the Maker prevented a radioactive spider from biting a young Peter Parker. He likewise prevented the creation of any other heroes and formed a secret council to rule the world from the shadows. When Tony Stark learned the dark history of his universe, he sought to undo it, promoting the Maker's council to attack attack Manhattan, killing thousands and framing Stark for it. Peter Parker has lived his life unaware of the Maker's counsel or the truth behind the spider, but that is about to change. So it's actually the Maker, an alternate version of Reed Richards, who is this great evil and created a council to frame Stark and erase all heroes. But now Stark is on a mission to systematically bring back every hero that was erased, which is now going to span out to all the solo Ultimate titles, and I can't wait to see it. This is a great idea. We're gonna get to see all those heroes remember who they were one by one before ultimately coming together to fight the Maker and his council. All in all, this was a great start to the Ultimate Spider-Man title, and you can bet we're gonna be right here keeping you up to date with all the major events in the Ultimate Universe. And like I said at the beginning, if you've been wanting to jump on a Spider-Man book but didn't know where to start, this is your opportunity. A perfect jumping on point for Spider-Man and all the other heroes from this Ultimate Universe. But as always, what do you guys think? Are you digging this series so far, and what do you hope to see from the Ultimate Universe? Let us know down in the comments. Other than that, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.